Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a zombie horror film, The Return of the Living Dead, Part 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a shot of a Jeep rushing through the pouring rain. A soldier steps out of the Jeep and signals to the other soldiers that the coast is clear. That's when we see an entire army of trucks arriving with barrels inside them. These barrels are filled with a mysterious substance, which is the property of the US Army. Now, one of the drivers listens to music and smokes a cigarette while the convoy crosses a bridge. However, one of the barrels falls from the truck after it hits a bump, and then it starts to leak, hinting at something ominous. Now we move to the daytime, where a little boy named Jesse looks out of his home and notices his bully seated downstairs with another friend. Jesse gets some magazines and gives them to the bully, who decides to give him an induction in his clubhouse. Jesse isn't keen on seeing the clubhouse, but is taken there anyway. As the group heads to the clubhouse, they cross a graveyard that makes Jesse nervous. He decides not to go to the clubhouse after seeing it, but the bully decides to perform the induction ceremony. A tense chase follows, but Jesse is caught by the bully and his friend, who find him inside a drain. A brief struggle follows, but then the boys find the same barrel that was dropped by the army earlier. They explore the barrel, but notice a rotting zombie inside it, so they run away like chickens. Jesse wants to report this to the army, but he gets trapped inside a secret room by the bully. Then we see a man named Joey, who is on a skull-stealing mission with an old man named Oldie and his sexy girlfriend, Babe. She doesn't want Joey to go out on his mission with Oldie, but he decides to ignore her after a brief tongue massage. It turns out that Oldie has been hired to dig out skulls for his clients, and he's ready to do as he's told. Joey suggests giving fake skulls, but Oldie doesn't want to play dirty. Meanwhile, Jesse explores the room for a bit, but then he bumps into a decaying corpse. He gets creeped out by the corpse, especially when it moves its face, but Joey and Oldie arrive and scare the shit out of him. Jesse makes it out alive and finds his sister at home, who's doing a smelly workout, probably for a hormone season later. Meanwhile, the bully and his friend break open the zombie barrel because they want to explore it, but accidentally trigger the release of a zombie gas. The zombie gas starts to spread everywhere, suggesting something horrible, and it moves into the secret room, where Oldie and Joey find an old corpse. Oldie teases Joey and even tempts him with some jewelry that he can give to Babe, but Joey gets creeped out when he sees the zombie gas. Oldie doesn't think much of it, so he decides to go ahead with his skull robbery. Then, Jesse checks out a comic book of his favorite superhero and thinks about becoming a hero himself. He looks outside and finds the bully running to his home. After which, we see some soldiers lamenting the missing barrel, as this incident has already happened before. Now, a repairman comes along to Jesse's house and is amazed to see how gorgeous his sister is. The repairman thinks that he can act out a dirty fantasy, so the repairman plays around with the sister, hoping to fix her hormones. But she shoots him down because of his smelly face. Jesse has to do homework, but he goes to meet the bully, who is now sick. The bully's mom acts tough at first, but eventually she allows Jesse to go meet him. Jesse is amazed to see the bully in such bad shape, as he looks almost as if he is turning into a zombie. Jesse wants more information, but the bully's mom shows up and asks him to get lost after checking the thermometer. At night, Jesse wears a dummy hazmat suit and checks out the zombie barrel, but he comes across a smelly zombie. He is scared by the zombie, who only wants to eat his brains, not his smelly part. Jesse takes cover and manages to push the zombie into a pool of water. But as he makes his escape, he finds more zombies coming out of the ground. This leads to a chaotic sequence, where multiple zombies come out of the ground and give us a haunting but somewhat hilarious sequence. Now, Babe decides to check up on him as the zombie apocalypse comes into effect. Meanwhile, Joey gets scolded by Oldie, who thinks he's doing a lousy job. Babe runs into a zombie and thinks he wants her car, so she bargains with him, but gets attacked by another zombie. She punches him to establish dominance, but only gets goo all over her hands. Babe runs for shelter to cover her sexy body, and then we see a zombie waking up next to Oldie. It leads to a sense of panic, and Joey tries slashing the zombie's head, but it's of no use. They try to escape the zombies, but there are too many of them, and Oldie goes crazy. As they escape, Joey finds his girlfriend Babe, and they show us some horrible acting. Oldie adds to the experience by declaring he's being punished for his sins, but he gets taken away by the couple to safety. Now Jesse scares his sister with a surprise appearance and gets scolded for sneaking out. Jesse says that he has found zombies and they need to call the zombie-proof cops. However, his sister locks him in his room, while the repairman licks a cake the same way he wants to lick Jesse's sister. Meanwhile, Joey and the team reach the bully's parents and warn them against the zombies, even though Oldie is still acting crazy. Now Jesse starts a fake fire and makes his sister panic. He uses the distraction and runs away after his sister opens the door for him. He tries calling the army, but it's of no use as the call gets cut. There's no time to rest as Joey and the team try to run away from the zombies in the middle of the apocalypse. They get into a van but end up hitting a zombie. The bully's dad checks up on the body, but the zombie ends up killing him in the process. The repairman sees this and a chaotic sequence follows. It ends up with everyone heading back to Jesse's place, and then everyone gets into an argument over Joey's team hitting a person. They explain that the person they hit was a zombie, but then Joey gets dizzy because he had inhaled a zombie gas earlier. Oldie also realizes he has a zombie head in his bag. He shows the zombie head and strangely gets his finger bitten before he throws the head to the floor. The repairman fixes the zombie head, but it starts talking and causes further panic. Now Jesse gets attacked by a zombie, but he gets saved by the others. Everyone decides to look for a getaway car, while the repairman looks out for more zombies to fix. Jesse's home is suddenly overrun by zombies, and the repairman gets attacked by a zombie in a suit. Things don't look good for the repairman, but then the TV turns on and shows a smelly workout. The hormone noises seem to distract the nasty zombie, so the repairman makes his escape. Jesse's sister doesn't move as fast as she should, possibly because she's too heavy. So Jesse makes fun of her by saying the zombies won't eat her because she's greasy and has no brains. However, a zombie sneaks up behind the sister and is about to attack her. Luckily, the repairman shows up to flex his fixing skill and sticks the zombie to the wall. Now the bully turns into a zombie, and his mom goes out to check up on his dad, but sees his body getting eaten by zombies. She runs back inside and finds Zombie Bully, but she hugs him because she thinks he's still her son. That clearly isn't the case, as Zombie Bully munches on her brains. Jesse and the others finally reach a bald doctor named Baldy and ask for his car. But he acts like a lawyer and asks too many questions. So the repairman threatens Baldy and takes control of his car, but it doesn't start on time. Zombies start piling up on the team, but Baldy simply comments on how he knows one of the zombies. A tense sequence follows, but the team manages to make an escape through the garage. The danger isn't over, as Oldie feels sick and is about to puke. That's when it's revealed there's a zombie on top of the car. It attacks Oldie, so the window gets rolled up to chop his hand off. The zombie hand proceeds to attack Oldie, and is even smart enough to grab Baldy's Dragon Balls, rather than his hair, but it eventually gets thrown away. It shows us the finger, and then the team decides where to go. Jesse wants to go to the police, but the others say they should go to the hospital. Joey feels this situation has already happened before, because he saw the first episode on Daniel CC Movie Channel. Now, the team enters the hospital, and Baldy gets to work on Oldie and Joey, both of whom seem very ill due to their exposure to the zombie gas. Meanwhile, Jesse decides to go to the police station with his sister and the repairman. Baldy takes a look at the sick men and worries that this might be a form of cancer, which is bad news for Babe and Joey. Now Jesse and the team reach the police station, but can't find anyone there. That's when the sister has a blonde moment and signals to some zombies to come help them, thinking that these are normal people. The zombies charge at the team, and the car doesn't start, so it leads to a tense situation. Luckily, the repairman makes it work, and the team rushes to Jesse's grandpa's house. Here, everyone loads up on guns, and Jesse makes the choice of picking up a small gun for a big fight. The team goes back to the hospital, where Oldie and Joey are both halfway through their zombie transformation. The men are almost as good as dead now, so Baldy suggests bagging them up to stay safe. Meanwhile, Jesse goes downstairs and tries to radio for help, but finds a zombie instead. He hides for a bit, but gets caught, so he switches to cowboy mode and shoots the zombie without mercy. This is of no use, as the zombie survives the bullet and attacks Jesse. He's about to be eaten in his smelly part, but then his sister and the repairman come to the rescue. They shoot the zombie many times, but end up splitting it in two. The zombie survives the bullets and attacks Jesse again, but then he uses a gas pipe to melt its face off. The team escapes from the scene, but Babe decides to take Joey to safety. Despite being old, Oldie runs fast and follows the couple into Baldy's bald car, and they betray the others by driving away. Babe drives the car as fast as she can and reaches some soldiers. She asks for their help, but they say the town is down with a plague, so nobody can get out. Babe argues with them, but then Oldie becomes a zombie, but still old. He attacks one of the soldiers, but spares Babe, possibly because he's too old to like sexy girls. He gets shot down in a horrible fashion, but gets back up and scares the soldiers away. Babe also escapes from the zombie, so he feasts on his soldier victim. Now Jesse and the team drive an ambulance and attack some zombies. They kill one of them with an electric shock, but accidentally start the siren and attract other zombies. Now Joey becomes a zombie and attacks Babe, so she escapes the car and runs for her shitty life. She is attacked by another zombie who likes to kiss young girls, but she rips its mouth open and proceeds to go inside a chapel. Zombie Joey chases after her and says he wants her brains because it smells spicy. Babe tries to resist his zombie hormones, but it's of no use as he eats her brains, and she seems to enjoy it. Jesse and the team try to get out of town, but get attacked by the military, who don't want anyone to breach the perimeter. They try another location, so Jesse radios for help. A zombie tries to trick him into coming to the hospital, but despite being bald, Baldy can still use his brains and asks the zombie who the president is. The zombie cannot answer the question, so the team decides this is a trap and figure out another plan. They go collect some meat supplies and leave Jesse outside as a guard while the army faces off against the zombie invasion. Despite their bullets and their weapons, the army loses to the zombies, who start driving their jeeps. The zombies come driving toward Jesse, and it leads to a chase scene. Luckily, he runs into his sister and the others, who have now collected brains as bait. The team now tricks the zombies into following them to an electrical facility and traps them outside, before going inside the facility. The repairman deactivates the power, and then he sets up an elaborate trap to electrocute the zombies. However, Zombie Bully uses his brains and climbs up the fence. He then opens the gate and allows the other zombies to break in. This causes panic, so everyone hides inside their truck, while Baldy is inside the electrical room, waiting for a signal to start the power. Unfortunately, the repairman forgets his walkie-talkie outside the truck. With no means of contacting Baldy, the team decides to use Jesse's tiny size and make him crawl out of an open slot and into the driver's seat. After a lengthy struggle, Jesse starts the truck and rides into the facility, but also knocks down Zombie Bully. This isn't enough to kill him, so Jesse gets into another battle with him and comes out on top by stabbing his mouth. Later, Jesse enters the electrical room and turns on the power, which causes all the zombies to get shocked to death. The sister celebrates this victory by tongue massaging the repairman, who can finally have time to fix her bad hormones. However, Zombie Bully is still alive, and he attacks Jesse. Luckily, Baldy shows up and uses his bald head to distract Zombie Bully. This allows Jesse to kick him into an electrical circuit that fries him to death, ending his bully life. With the zombie apocalypse over, the army shows up to clean the mess, and the survivors walk away, happy to be alive. The movie ends with the zombie head from before getting burned down by a soldier, after which it admits defeat. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.